record this, right?
We are going to record. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Great.
Aye.
Yeah. So welcome everyone. I think this is week 34. As Wendy, when we first started, we thought, well, we'll do Poetry Month and then we'll be done. And then it was like, oh, we're going to do through the summer, then we'll be done. Then it was like, I don't know, maybe we should do something on December 23rd just to celebrate the season. I feel, there is a lot of joy in the air, but it's so muted because at least for us, there are not really many places to go to outside to celebrate that joy. So it's all inside. So, I view this as a time, for us to connect, to celebrate whatever holiday you celebrate, winter itself, and just to share that for the next hour. So that's it. So the poem Linda and our daughter was going to read is also the favorite poem of our first presenter, Ken Haas. Go ahead, Ken.
Thanks, John. Great to see everyone. Happy holidays. So this is a Billy Collins poem called Shoveling Snow with Buddha. In the usual iconography of the temple or the local wok, you would never see him doing such a thing, tossing the dry snow over the mountain of his bare, round shoulder, his hair tied in a knot, a model of concentration. Sitting is more his speed, if that is the word for what he does or does not do. Even the season is wrong for him. In all his manifestations, is it not warm and slightly humid? Is this not implied by his serene expression, that smile so wide it wraps itself around the waist of the universe? But here we are, working our way down the driveway, one shovelful at a time. We toss the light powder into the clear air. We feel the cold mist on our faces. And with every heave, we disappear and become lost to each other in these sudden clouds of our own making, these fountain bursts of snow. This is so much better than a sermon in church, I say out loud, but Buddha keeps on shoveling. This is the true religion, the religion of snow and sunlight and winter geese barking in the sky, I say. But he is too busy to hear me. He has thrown himself into shoveling snow, as if it were the purpose of existence, as if the sign of a perfect life were a clear driveway, and you could back the car down easily and drive off into the vanities of the world with a broken heater fan and a song on the radio. All morning long, we work side by side, me with my commentary and he inside the generous pocket of his silence, until the hour is nearly noon and the snow is piled high all around us. Then I hear him speak. After this, he asks, can we go inside and play cards? Certainly, I reply, and I will heat some milk and bring cups of hot chocolate to the table, while you shuffle the deck and our boots stand dripping by the door. Ah, says the Buddha, lifting his eyes and leaning for a moment on his shovel before he drives the thin blade again deep into the glittering white snow.
All right, very nice. So Ken, why does that resonate for you? If you could just share a little thought on that.
Yeah, what I love about this piece is how layered it is, and how some of these layers can be, tweezed apart by asking what I think is my favorite question about the poem, which is, what's the Buddha's ah at the end? What's that about? And on the surface, he's relishing the thought of, finishing his work, the work of shoveling, and going back inside for some cards and hot chocolate. And basically, the speaker of the poem, the poet, is humanizing the Buddha, and Buddhizing us in a way, saying, hey, he's just like us. He wants what we want. He does everything that we do. He just does it with joy and silence and gratitude, which is a nice holiday message, and it's delightfully delivered. We're all Buddhists to some extent, etc. But at another level, to me, the Buddha is not at all about the physical world of cards and hot chocolate, which he is not any more attached to than shoveling. But it's about having inspired this, as Billy Collins is, often ironic, superior sounding speaker poet into an act of return service and gratitude, the hot chocolate. The Buddha knows that, the poet, the Westerner, is the one who is dying to stop shoveling and play some cards. So he takes on the responsibility for this desire, voices it as his own, which gives the poet an opportunity for a little generosity with, the hot chocolate. So for me, it's ultimately a spiritual, not a physical on the part of the Buddha, kind of stoked by the message that even more important than joy in this season in general is service to others, which of course is why the Buddha is shoveling, this smartass's driveway in the first place. So for me, it's that layering and that ultimate message about service that you have to kind of tweeze out that I love about the poem.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And yeah, very, very, very insightful. So Scott, we're going to go to you next with Ice by Judith Kitchen.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. And thanks for having me again, John, and everybody at the Stockbridge Library. So this poem is by a writer named Judith Kitchen, who is primarily known as a creative nonfiction writer, especially short creative nonfiction. And she edited a bunch of anthologies that were all collections of short creative nonfiction. And she passed about 5 years ago. But her first book was actually a book of poems that I really love and is kind of criminally underread. It's called Perennials. And this poem, Ice, is from that book. Ice. Yesterday, the clouds were flat and heavy with snow. Now they have lifted. What luck this morning, driving east into the sun, that the boy on the corner of Culver and Main exhales, a visible pouring out of breath, so tangible, it is a halo. Ice is stronger than grief, casting back the sun like Christmas tinsel. Each puddle flares an instant as I pass. Cold is a kind of purity. The lungs run clear, fill the body with their small subverted wings. Yes, winter is coming. It's in the air, in the sound of my boots on the pavement. Paw prints, locked in cement, glint as though an animal, freed of the need to be itself, had skimmed the night. Wherever you are, I wanted to tell you.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. And is there any particular, piece of that moves you or resonates? I'm sure there are.
Yeah, I think just that. Well, first of all, I live in Miami, so anything about ice just sounds wonderful to me, just as a break from the norm. But I really like it as it actually reminds me of like Coleridge's Frost at Midnight, another icy poem where you have a speaker, whose mind is cast somewhere else, inside of a landscape. And I really like how she performs that and speaks to someone who's not there, but without, you feel the person there, you feel an immediacy there. It doesn't feel like a literary device, but it actually feels like the person could hear it, which I think is really lovely.
Nice. Great, thank you. So Ann Fowler is going to read Christmas by George Herbert.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to tell the significance at the beginning because this is a poem from another era, and I'm an Episcopal priest, so I have a different religion from Billy Collins. And before I was ordained, I got a doctorate in English literature, and the subject of my dissertation was George Herbert, who was a 17th century priest and poet. And his poetry and my wrestling with his poetry set me on the path to ordination. So here, and you can see this book maybe is a well-worn edition of George Herbert's poems, which I used throughout my journey, and I return to it often. Christmas, and this poem is in two parts, as you can hear. Christmas. All after pleasures, as I rid one day, my horse and I, both tired, body and mind, with full cry of affections, quite astray, I took up in the next inn I could find. There where I came, whom found I but my dearest Lord, expecting till the grief of pleasures brought me to him, ready there, to be all passengers, most sweet relief. O thou whose glorious yet contracted light, wrapped in night's mantle, stole into a manger, since my dark soul and brutish is thy right, to man of all beasts, be not thou a stranger. Furnish and deck my soul, that thou mayest have a better lodging than a rack or grave. And then the second part, the shepherds sing, and shall I silent be? My God, know him for thee? My soul's a shepherd too, a flock it feeds of thoughts and words and deeds. The pasture is thy word, the streams thy grace, enriching all the place. Shepherd and flock shall sing, and all my powers outsing the daylight hours. Take up his place and right, we sing one common Lord, wherefore he should himself the candle hold. I will go searching till I find a sun, shall stay till we have done. A willing shiner that shall shine as gladly as frost-nipped suns look sadly. Then we will sing and shine all our own day, and one another pay. His beam shall cheer my breast, and both so twine, till even his beams sing, and my music shine. Thank you.
Very nice, very nice. So let's move on. We're going to have Hilary Jacqmin read The Christmas Tree by James Merrill.
Hello. I'm a big Merrill fan. I was introduced to his work when I was getting my master's degree, and he just the way he uses detail and his control over the material is always so impressive. It's always such ornate poetry. This poem was actually new to me, and it is from the persona of a Christmas tree, but it's also about his own impending death from AIDS. It's a very beautiful and very sad poem, but it has so much lightness in it. So I just think it's a great, it manages to walk this really fine line, I think, between elegy and celebration. And it's also a concrete poem, so it has a shape, and usually I don't care for poems with a shape, but I think this is an exception. To be brought down at last from the cold sighing mountain, where I and the others had been fed, looked after, kept still. meant I knew, of course I knew, that it would be only a matter of weeks, that there was nothing more to do. Warmly they took me in, made much of me. The point from the start was to keep my spirits up. I could assent to that. For honestly, it did help to be wound in jewels, to send their colors flashing forth from vents in the deep, fragrant sables that cloaked me head to foot. Over me then they wove a spell of shining, purple and silver chains, eavesdropping tinsel, amulets, milagros, software of silver. A heart, a little girl, a Model T, two staring eyes. Then angels, trumpets, Bud and Bee, the children's names in clown-like capitals. Somewhere a music box whose tiny song played and replayed, I ended before long by loving. And in shadow behind me, a primitive IV to keep the show going. Yes, yes, what lay ahead was clear. The stripping, the cold street, my chemicals plowed back into the earth for lives to come. No doubt a blessing, a harvest, but one that doesn't bear, now or ever dwelling upon. To have grown so thin, needles and bone. The little boy's hands meeting about my spine. The mother's voice, holding up wonderfully. No dread, no bitterness. The end beginning. Today's dusk room aglow for the last time with candlelight. Faces love lit, gifts underfoot. Still to be so poised, so receptive. Still to recall, to praise.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I'm glad people are reading some of their favorite poems. This is really nice. Just to let everybody know, I have a list of all the readers and the poems they're reading. So if you want that list, you don't have to write it down. I've got it. You could just email info@stockbridgelibrary.org. Wendy, is that the best way to do it? Yeah. Great. No, this is great. So we're going to have Margo Stever read In Memoriam and Alfred Lord Tennyson. Very nice.
Thank you. I guess I'll say a couple of words beforehand too. Like Hilary's poem, this poem that I will read was written as an elegy for a good friend of Alfred Lord Tennyson's, but I thought it has a celebratory tone and also a kind of New Year's feeling about its sense of celebration. Also, I think I'm the only person with a virtual backdrop, and you might want to know where it is. I'm at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm really not there, but that's my virtual background because I'm trying to get used to thinking about being there since I'll be teaching a poetry workshop in the bioethics department of the medical school the first week of January for 8 hours a day for 5 days. So I figure I'd better get used to being at Case Western. And that's why I have this virtual backdrop. In memoriam, ring out wild bells. Ring out wild bells to the wild sky, the flying cloud, the frosty light. The year is dying in the night. Ring out wild bells and let him die. Ring out the old, ring in the new. Ring happy bells across the snow. The year is going, let him go. Ring out the false, ring in the true. Ring out the grief that saps the mind for those that here we see no more. Ring out the feud of rich and poor. Ring in redress to all mankind. Ring out a slowly dying cause in ancient forms of party strife. Ring in the nobler modes of life with sweeter manners, purer laws. Ring out the want, the care, the sin, the faithless coldness of the times. Ring out, my mournful rhymes, but ring the fuller minstrel in. Ring out false pride in place and blood, the civic slander and the spite. Ring in the love of truth and right. Ring in the common love of good. Ring out old shapes of foul disease. Ring out the narrowing lust of gold. Ring out the 1,000 wars of old. Ring in the 1,000 years of peace. Ring in the valiant man and free, the larger heart, the kindlier hand. Ring out the darkness of the land. Ring in the Christ that is to be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, what's great about this is you're introducing me to a lot of poems that I've never read before. You know, I've read obviously Shoveling Snow, but a lot of these other ones were all new to me. So this is another bonus for me. So Wendy and the entire family, wherever they are, you're going to read Winter Love by Linda Gregg.
Okay. I just wanted to give a little shout out to my college classmates here. There are 6 of us here on this Zoom. So I know Anne and I really appreciate your joining us, as well, of course, as my family. Winter Love by Linda Gregg is a very small poem. I think it contrasts nicely with the other poems we've been hearing. So I'm going to read it and then talk about why I picked such a small poem. Winter Love. I would like to decorate this silence, but my house grows only cleaner and more plain. The glass chimes I hung over the register ring a little when the heat goes on. I waited too long to drink my tea. It was not hot, it was only warm. The first thing that strikes me about this poem is the incredible economy of language. It's 7 lines, and all of the words except for 2, decorate and register, are 1 or 2 syllables. Also, the syntax is completely plain: noun, verb, noun, verb, noun, verb. And yet with that economy of language and with only 7 lines, I think she creates an incredible tension. And I think that's set up in the first 2 sentences. Where she says she wants to decorate the silence, but she can't. And yet in the next sentence, it turns out she's hung glass chimes. Sounds like decoration to me. And the glass chimes, in fact, are ringing, even though they're ringing a little. So the silence is broken. So the 2 things she said she wanted to do, which was decorate the silence, she has actually done. And the poem seems to be an internal argument about whether you can hold 2 things in your heart at the same time. And I think this is exactly where we are right now. We're struggling to allow ourselves to feel sorrow and longing, and at the same time to acknowledge consolation and even gratitude for the blessings we do have. And so when we come to the end and she says, I waited too long to drink my tea, it was not hot, it was only warm. Given what has come before, I felt when I read that, yeah, but she has warm tea. So I'm just going to read it again because it's so short and there's so much in such a small space. And I'm hoping that you also feel that tension between wanting things that we don't have and being grateful for the things that we do. Winter Love. I would like to decorate this silence, but my house grows only cleaner and more plain. The glass chimes I hung over the register ring a little when the heat goes on. I waited too long to drink my tea. It was not hot, it was only warm. So that's the Linda Gregg poem. I hope you enjoy Linda Gregg if you want to investigate some of her other poems.
Yeah, great. No, Wendy, thank you very much. That was great. Very nice. So now we're going to move from the professional poet category to the mostly local Stockbridge or Lenox category of I call them aspiring poets. So our neighbor down the street and very experienced massage, Feldenkrais, healing hands person, Misha Forrester, is going to read Miracles by Walt Whitman.
Why? Who makes much of a miracle? As to me, I know nothing else but miracles. Whether I walk the streets of Manhattan or dart my sight over roofs of houses toward the sky, or wade with naked feet along the beach just in the edge of the water, or stand under trees in the woods, or talk by day with anyone I love, or sleep in the bed at night with anyone I love, or sit at table at dinner with the rest, or look at strangers opposite me riding in the car, or watch honeybees busy around the hive of a summer forenoon, or animals feeding in the fields, or birds, or the wonderfulness of insects in the air, or the wonderfulness of the sundown, or of stars shining so quiet and bright, or the exquisite, delicate thin curve of the new moon in the spring. These with the rest, one and all, are to me miracles, the whole referring, yet each distinct and in its place. To me, every hour of the light and dark is a miracle. Every cubic inch of space is a miracle. Every square yard of the surface of the earth is spread with the same. Every foot of the interior swarms with the same. To me, the sea is a continual miracle. The fishes that swim, the rocks, the motion of the waves, the ships with men in them. What stranger miracles are there?
So Misha, why does that resonate for you?
Well, there are two parts. This resonates to me because it's so much in the present. I think that's the reason. It's a simple, relatively easy poem to almost memorize, as almost like meta loving kindness.
Yeah.
And there's no reference to winter. It's the absolute opposite. There's references to warmer climates, to summer, to movement. And in those periods of time, we forget the darker part of coming together and miracles in the way that we're reminded of it so much more at Christmas time and holiday time. So I found that contrast very poignant right now.
Great. Oh, fantastic. Thank you. So our next reader is Kristen van Ginhoven, the founder of Wham Theater. We met Kristen, Lynn and I, back in 2015 when we went to her gala. There was a postcard at Six Depot. I picked it up and I said, wow, this looks pretty cool. We should go to this gala. It's in an orchard. So that's how we met. And, we've had a very close relationship as donors, as her hidden financial advisor at times about her budget and things like that. So Kristen's a good friend. She's up in Canada and she's going to read, I have no idea if that's just one poem. I looked at the connection. How will I know it's Santa? Holidays in the time of COVID-19. Love it.
Thanks, John. I'm so honored to be included amongst all of the professional and aspiring poets here. I've heard about this poetry reading for months, so it's fun to be here. I'm reading a poem that was published this year, just recently, by a friend of mine, a local poet based in Albany, New York, named Carol Durant. How will I know it's Santa? Last year, I stood in line at the department store and looked at the beautiful decorations, a shiny decor. We moved slowly, but the adoration made me giddy with anticipation. Right before my turn came, I would gaze at him from behind the candy cane, a big old belly dressed in red with black boots, shiny with tread. But what I remember in all my years was his large, bushy white beard. My turn came and I sat on his lap, told him my secrets and wishes while I touched his cap. He smiled and whispered too. We giggled and nodded adieu. Then off I went with Mom, a giant spring in my step. My gifts would arrive and my secrets kept. Mom, this year is different. What will we do? COVID-19 is worse than the flu. We are locked in the house, silent with fright. Retail stores closed forever or shut tight. I won't see Santa and he can't see me. I can't tell my secrets to just anybody. We might as well just stay in bed because Christmas not coming is what I dread. Mama knows best is what always is said. She stopped what she was doing, held my hand and pled, Don't you worry, child of mine. We are going old school this time. I have Santa's address, an envelope and stamp, some paper and a pen, or we'll use Dad's printer to print and send. You'll tell Santa your secrets in the mail this winter, and then we will mail your letter ASAP and wait for his response patiently. I said okay and went to type away. We went to the post office on that Monday. It took longer than I thought or was told, but my mail was here from the North Pole. I opened the envelope with glee, and 2 pages were in there for me. It was a letter and a picture to view. Hello, my friend. It's me from the North Pole. It's been a weird year for young and old, but please just erase your fears. Santa and Christmas will be here this year. The elves are working days and nights with masks on their face to keep them and your gifts safe. Mrs. Claus has been working hard and fast, making me and the reindeer custom masks. They seriously complement my suit, and now I am joyously plotting my route. So stay safe and good and know that I'll arrive with safety policies and precious gifts in stride. Remain in good spirits with your family and friends. This year is weird, but the holidays won't end. With hugs and smiles, Santa Claus. The letter was over. I checked out page 2. It was a photo of Santa and Mrs. Claus with matching suits and masks in view. Ooh, with the elves and masked reindeer too. The sleigh was packed, all gifts were wrapped, their eyes were smiling, and so are mine, 'cause it was signed, do enjoy your holiday time. Thank you.
You're enjoying your holiday time up in Canada.
Yes, there's no snow here. There's snow where you are, so I don't know. You have a more white Christmas than we do at the moment, although there's snow in the forecast for Friday. So we'll see if that shows up. Thank you. Carol was really excited that I was reading this poem today, so thank you.
Yeah, the joy and discovery of Santa Claus. Yeah, I like that picture with the masks. Linda, is it too late to get one of those for me? Maybe I could. No, Kristen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next reader is my partner in crime, Wendy Pearson, who's the director of the library. You know, for those of you that don't live here, I think Wendy started 1 or 2 weeks pre-COVID, and I keep joking with Wendy. I said, "What are you going to do when you're just going to actually do your job?" And because the job is, you know, safety requirements, plexiglass, scheduling visits, curbside pickup. Wendy, there must be 12 or 15 things that we're doing that we never thought of or did before. And, you know, an amazing staff. I think Wendy has done a great job to engage the community. So I appreciate your partnering with me and the library. Obviously, I'm pretty connected to the library, but you know, this has just been a really joyous program to be part of. So Wendy is going to read Those Winter Sundays by Robert Hayden.
Thank you, John, for the continuation of this lovely program and your kind words. Today is a real treat to have so many different people read poems that not necessarily they have written, but that the poem I selected today is not about the holidays in particular, but a winter-themed poem. And I think the subtleties of the ways we give to each other. So this is by Robert Hayden, Those Winter Sundays. Sundays, too, my father got up early and put his clothes on in the blue-black cold. Then, with cracked hands that ached from labor in the weekday weather, made banked fires blaze. No one ever thanked him. I'd wake and hear the cold splintering, breaking. When the rooms were warm, he'd call, and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that house. speaking indifferently to him who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well. What did I know? What did I know of love's austere and lonely offices?
So Wendy, what's special about that for you?
That poem, so many poems are special to me. And as I was searching for a winter themed poem, maybe more than holiday, it just really strikes me that love and forgiveness and giving come in so many different forms. And sometimes, we miss it until much later.
Great. So it's 1:39. I'm going to read the last poem. I mean, if there are other people that aren't scheduled that want to read after me, we have time until 2:00. So this is I'm reading Christmas Bells by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. So when I was in junior high in probably 1962 in Newton, Mass, poetry was part of the English studies agenda. It used to be called English and Social Studies. So it's so funny. We would be reciting poems, and then we'd go across the hall to social studies, and I was making a bad diorama of Grant's Vicksburg siege. So there's a Civil War connection with this poem, and what? Yeah, probably. But okay, that was my sidekick saying I guess I was tapping the desk or something. So I was first introduced to him with Paul Revere's Ride. So if you grew up in Massachusetts, Paul Revere, the North End, the Freedom Trail. So, I can still remember the lines. Listen, my children, you will hear about the midnight ride of Paul Revere. That was like a staple. I mean, I think you had to recite that poem before you could move on to high school. So that's how I first got introduced to the poet. And just a little background on Christmas Bells. He wrote this on Christmas Day, 1863. And in a time when the outcome of the war, the Civil War, was not clear. And when I read this poem, I thought about this year, with the election cycle and how things were not clear, and maybe we didn't know what the outcome would be. So in the tradition of Christmas, the bells were always a celebration. They were part of the Christmas tradition. And you'll hear it. The sounds of other things happen because it's in war. So I'm going to read the poem. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And thought how, as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Till ringing, singing on its way, the world revolved from night to day, a voice, a chime, a chant sublime of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then from each black accursed mouth, the cannon thundered in the south, and with the sound the carols drowned of peace on earth, goodwill to men. It was if an earthquake rent the hearthstones of a continent and made forlorn the households born of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no place on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song. Peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead. nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill. And I just love the resiliency and the, you know, the optimism about how good. I know it's probably a theme through all of life and everything we do, but I just felt like there needed to be a lot of optimism in 1863 when the whole nation had a high degree of uncertainty. So yeah, I've been reading this poem for quite a few years and listening to the songs, and that's just one of my favorites. I just love the optimism at the end. So, yeah. Anybody else have any impromptu poems they want to share with us? Or just questions or comments? Margo, we're calling Case Western University after we get off the webinar, and we'll get that squared away. We're making Santa wishes. We're just getting the list ready. So we got Case Western Reserve. Kristen, you'll have some snow. You know, Wendy, I think more poems about your family. A fun time. Anybody else? Comments, questions?
Thank you for getting us all together to do this, Wendy and John. We appreciate your gathering us all to have a little holiday spirit here. Thank you.
And Abby, we would love to hear a poem from you if you would kindly read for us.
I was trying to convince our 8-year-old to read one of her original ones, but not this time. Whoa, sorry. This is not exactly wintry, although the poem is called November by Lynna Odell, but it's in this really beautiful book that I can share. And it's called All We Can Save: Truth, Courage, and Solutions for the Climate Crisis. November. If I can't save us, then let me feel you happy and safe under my chin. If this will drown or burn, then let us drink starlight, nap under trees, sing on beaches. The morning rush to sit indoors is for what again? If we are dying, then let me rip open and bleed love. Spill it, spend it, see how much there is. The reward for misers is what again? If this life is ending, then let me begin a new one.
Well, this is the highlight of every poetry reading I've ever been to read with my daughter.
There you go. There you go. Anyone else have any closing comments, salutes? Kristen, you're going to have to contact Santa Claus for me. So, yeah. No, that was a great poem. I love that poem.
Thanks. This was a great mix of old familiar and new ones from people I didn't know about. So a really good time. Thank you.
The poem that I read, she has self-published on Amazon, and you can just download it from Kindle. So it's pretty cool that she does that. She's super enterprising to make that happen. So
I just want to add that I put in the chat box a link to sign up for our newsletter. If you want to get notified of future poetry readings, click through there, type in your email, and we'll keep you in the loop.
That was a lovely holiday treat. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we did record it. You know, if you want a copy of the recording, just email info@stockbridgelibrary.org. You know, all the people that read, you really don't have to do that because I'm going to send you that recording anyway once I get it from Wendy. But
And we will also, we'll also post it on our website so you can view it from our YouTube channel by clicking through on our website. We have a little section that says, in case you missed it, click there and you'll get right through.
No, great.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining
Thank you.
us. This was a really lovely way to round out the week. And I wish you all very happy holidays and healthy and happy, peaceful New Year.
Yeah. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay.
Good to see everybody.
Yep.